feel like this whole week it's been very beautiful, and I can see the weather for even this next couple of days is going to be a lot of blessing. So, for those that don't know me, I'm Lily. I am actually the youth leader here in Vivid. I get the privilege to be the youth leader for this church. And last time actually I was here up in stage doing the sermon was March 16th. So let me just tell you, a lot has happened since March 16th. Like, a lot. Before I get into the story of today, and actually today, there's actually no clicker. I have like no slides. Typically that is like my comfort of like, okay, it keeps me on task of making sure I don't go too over. I'm a talker for those that don't know. I love to talk. But today, as my pastor had asked for this day, and usually I was kind of calculating, I'm kind of those planners that like to kind of check whose turn is it. Usually Mady does like the first Sabbath. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not available. All right, maybe he needs me to do backup. But this time, I just felt this sense of peace of, Lily, you've been up there a couple of times for those that have been here. Thank you, I appreciate your support. And I have not yet used a little bit of my testimony. So today, you'll hear a little bit of my testimony, so just so you know that. A little storytelling, and where I'm at now, currently, since March 16th to now, my entire family. But before I get into Word of God, let's do a prayer. If you could please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this beautiful day. God, I invite the Holy Spirit to please come in and be in this building with each one of us. God, I ask you that in this, through my testimony, my mini testimony, I'm not ready to do everything, through this mini testimony that I'm able to share and help me through my journey. Also, that anything in my story, God, that you feel is not necessary to share, please keep me quiet and go through another route. I ask this in the name of Jesus Christ. We all pray. Amen. Amen. All right, so let me look at my notes. I did bring some notes. That way I'm still somewhat in track, and I'm not just all over the place. And I brought my phone, just so you know, because of course I don't have the slides. John's so awesome back there. He said, just say the verse and I'll pull it up. I was like, okay, here, let me see the paper with the verses. I got it. Okay. He got it. Okay. So, like I mentioned earlier, I'm the youth leader for the church, and I get the privilege to work with a lot of youth here, amazing youth. So, I mean, they're like mostly from this side. So, yeah, raise your hand, say hello. Okay. My kids. And so, there's been a lot of stuff ever since March 16th. So, those that, if you do follow us, or you hadn't had a chance to be here, we actually have this amazing YouTube video for Vivid Church. So I highly recommend that you can go back and catch up on March 16th. But there's other beautiful ones too as well that you can go back and follow up with. And one of the biggest things that happened was, and I had mentioned in that video as well, that God, when we're up here, first of all, it's not that easy. I mean, all of you just stare at me, Not easy, and also when you're having to share a story or you get to share your testimony. Because there's that whole thing of judgment of like, oh, she did what? Okay, what happened? Who does that? There's that emotion that goes through it, but one of the things is when you're able to share your story, what God has done for you, it not only empowers you and it helps you let go, it actually able to help other people along the way. And that's one of the biggest things I've gotten from other people when we share their testimonies. So I feel like, oh, I'm not the only one. Okay, I've gone through that as well. And the other thing too is we get blessed. Being up here, we get blessed quite a bit. So just so you know, a few weeks ago when we had our big event, Night of Worship, this young lady down here, she was like my best friend. I was watching her, so I don't know if she's able to hear the sermon, and that's why she's up here. I think she's very comfortable with me, so if you see her up here, I feel like I'm getting closer with her. But I was mentioning, we get blessed when we're up here because we get to be more in the Word of God. He gets to bless us to share some of our testimonies, some of the stuff we got from reading the Bible. And it does things to you. It literally does, and I want to say, some of you already know, but the family Castaneda, so me and my husband, my kids, we're going to be moving to California. So, and that will be actually pretty soon. Next Sabbath is literally my last Sabbath here in Vivid. My kids and my husband will be still here until June. I want them to finish their school year. One's a junior, one's a sophomore. Great time to move the kids whole different state, right? Having my oldest daughter start her senior year in a whole different high school, and then my daughter should turn in her junior year. So the biggest thing when we were sharing this news to not only my family, but our family church, first reaction was like, what? Like, literally, it was like, what do you mean? Like, wait, hold on, what? And then after that follows, why? Why would you leave? And these are the couple of ones that came up after emotional reactions, of course. And if you probably saw one of our vehicles outside, you probably cannot miss it. There's actually writing in the car. And it's thanks to a wonderful team of mine that I work for. I went to the branch, and I got out of that branch, and they had all this writing in there. We'll miss you. Why are you leaving? So most of the questions I was getting was, you have everything you need here. Why are you leaving? Are you not content with what you have? So we have the privilege that we live in Jervis, small little town. It's close to Woodburn. It's about 10 minutes, 5 minutes, depending if you ask me and my husband who's driving. So our immediate family is there. My parents, my siblings, except one decided to go to California. She started it first. And then my husband, he has all his siblings as well. They're between, Dallas, Woodburn, Salem. We have Vivid, our family church. Like, this is, we started off in Woodburn, then we came here. We're doing great things for the youth. We had continued on great planning. You get to connect with people at a different level. Our work's been great. I love my team. I get the privilege and honor to work with a lot of great people. You get to connect with them, right? The last 7 years, I've been in my role at my work, and I've been able to have close friendships outside of work because of where I work. My daughters have bonded, since they were young. All they know is Oregon. They build relationships here. So, in paper, it looks like, why would they move? What's out there that they're not getting here? I mean, gosh, by the way they look, they have a decent house. They have everything they needed. And the biggest one I still get is, what's the plan? What are you going to do with the house? What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about your kids? Your daughter's senior year. Does she have to make sure she has enough credits? What if they don't transfer enough there? Does she have to, super senior? She will not. Honey, you're not super senior. And the thing is, when I had looked up the plan, like, you Google it, you can Google everything now, it says, Wikipedia, a plan is typically any diagram. I know we know what the plan means, but I'm going somewhere. A plan is typically any diagram or a list of steps with details of timing and resources used to achieve an objective to do something. A detailed proposal for doing or achieving something. The thing is, in our plan, based on our family, our church, no one saw it coming, including ourselves. There was nothing planned about saying, let's go ahead and rip our family out of what we know we're comfortable and we're good into something completely different. There was nothing planned around it. So that's when we got all these reactions. We're still getting reactions, and people are still questioning and asking the why. And this is the thing. God doesn't work that way. God's plan is not how we think it works. He'll use us to get where we need to go and help us to help others. And, or if you look at your beautiful bulletin, thank you, Todd. Sorry, I texted you last night with my message and all this stuff. It's called plan. So I'm going to answer these questions that that people are asking us, to give you some of you peace of mind that still have clarity of why we're still doing this. That's the message today, that I'll answer those for you. So really the why. Why are me and my husband deciding to take our whole family away from what we know, what we're comfortable with? And before I can answer those questions for you, this is where you'll get a small glimpse of my journey with God. I say small because, let me just be honest, I need a whole series. to walk you through everything of everything. And I'm a talker, so there's that too. So for you, some of you do know, but in case you don't. So I was born in Mexico. No. And I came when I was 6 years old. I mean, not only once, I came twice within 6 months. I don't know. My mom thought maybe once was not enough. She tried it out, she didn't like it, and decided to come back. And so we crossed the border. I have stories for that. It's a whole different sermon. So it's me and my siblings. We're a total of 6. It's my mom and kids. Okay, if I can figure out this math. I really should have thought about this. The point is about me anyway. So I was 6 years old. That's what matters. After me is like a 4 and a half, and then a toddler, a little brother, then older siblings. So maybe 13 up to like 2 years old. My mom crosses the border, brings us here. My dad's already here. And there is, you're born in Mexico, you don't know anything. And I don't know if you guys have any memories when you're up to 6 years old. Certain things you remember. I don't remember the fun stuff, I didn't know what I was poor. By the way, I was very poor. When we got here, I was still poor. And I didn't know. I didn't know what's the difference. I get here, 6 years old, I started learning about things that I didn't know before. So we ended up showing up in Jervis, Oregon, the same town I live now. That's how that works. And it is kind of like a duplex house. Okay, it's a house, but we call it a duplex because you know how we are Mexicans. We just like roll it up with a lot of family. And it's probably 3 bedroom, but each bedroom has a family of how many? I mean, we share one bedroom. There was 6 kids and my parents. And I remember my dad's son when I was younger, not really. And that was my first experience of ever witnessing domestic violence. So my dad, not once ever hurt us, never touched us. He thought, like, no, these kids are his babies. He's never going to make sure he hurts any of us. I had never experienced him physically abusing my mom. So as a 6-year-old, that is pretty tough to see. You don't know what to do. Immediately, as a 6-year-old, I looked at my 2 younger siblings and immediately pulled them away from the situation. It's not like you cannot hear what's happening. Put them in the room and it was like, oh, In my head, I was thinking ABC. I'm pretty sure some sort of Spanish song. Just can't remember what it is. But I was trying to distract of what was happening in the other room. So you have that. I'm already quite a kid. Then you go to a school that's really not prepared and ready to help minors that don't speak English. Teachers were not equipped back then. This is back in the 89, 90. Jervis was not equipped to help kids like me. And by the way, I was that kid that had like the brakes. Like it's so obvious, I push half chanclas on too. The guaraches. I'm pretty sure I was rocking that too. I didn't know until in school you start getting the first experience of bullying. Right? You're just like, okay, like, oh, are they laughing at me or laughing with me? No, they were laughing at me. But I didn't know. I'm glad I was still a little bit naive. I think my kids need to get that from me. It's a blessing in disguise. So there was that. So in school, you gotta think about, some of us that grown up in some of this environment where the school is not only equipped not enough to help you, but when you have something like that, they're not equipped to help you with dealing with situations either. So, my dad, through this scenario, my mom will, and by the way, some of us that grew up, our mom will give us a good beat down, let me just tell you. See, to me also, like, I probably needed it, because we didn't listen, but for my dad she was not allowed to even touch us, because he will show her what it was. My mom got to learn about resources. There's this wonderful number called 911 that came along. Let me tell you, every weekend or week, the police in my house. Watching them trying to talk to my parents, they don't know what's happening, and the next day you still have to go to school. And you still have to learn what's happening, you don't know what they're talking about, you have your friend that's also 6 or 7 trying to translate to tell you what their teacher's telling you. And sometimes the teacher would even give up. They would just put me in the corner and say, why don't you go here and color? So there was times in elementary where whatever the education, what they were going to cover, I had no idea what they were talking about. She just gave me a coloring book and color. That was her way of dealing with someone like me. So, on top of all that, My dad actually, his journey began with Jesus. We had a couple of Seventh-day Baptist people knock on our door, and he met Jesus. And through 911 support, he stopped paying rentals. The verbal abuse was still there. Physical abuse was done. So, that's Jervis. We go into Woodburn. I am now entering fourth grade. And throughout that time, I didn't understand why my dad writes sometimes weird. I was just like, what's up with this guy? It's probably the son. Maybe because he can't hit my mom anymore. He doesn't know how to react. I learned about schizophrenia. I've always talked about it, but when you're 6, 7, you don't understand what's this mental disorder. And so you're, later on you hear it, and it's the norm. It's the norm. Oh, he has schizo, okay. We should say in Spanish, sounds better in English. And he would do a lot of weird stuff, and it was based on episodes. If someone passed away, if something tragic happened in our home, he would stop taking his medication, and he'll have episodes. He was no longer my dad. The father I knew. She would sometimes have to, I just used this magic pill. I was like, why did you take this pill? She would have to sometimes smash the pill, put it in his food or in his drink, so he can take it, so he can be okay. Because the way he was acting and reacting, it was the norm. I didn't realize what I was going through. So in high school, I'm just kind of fast forwarding some parts, gotta get to my point. In high school, that's when it hit me the most. Because you're now more aware. And let me just tell you, with social media and movies and video games, anybody that has schizophrenia is kind of put as this box. And every time we read about it in health class, they'll talk about it like, oh yeah, look what this person has. But I was like, why am I living something different? This that's describing someone that has this mental disorder is not my dad. That's not, I see some, yeah, I can see some of the stuff. Oh, that makes sense. I can see why he needs to be taking this. But it didn't make sense what they wrote it out. Or in movies it didn't help, like the bad guy all of a sudden has schizo, and I was like, oh. So that all of that added to me being ashamed. But I didn't realize I wasn't talking about my dad. In high school, I never talked about my dad, but I didn't realize I was doing that. I would talk about my mom all the time, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to my friend's house. Let me ask my mom. Oh, I didn't talk to mom about that. Oh, my mom did this. I avoided the conversation of my dad because I was embarrassed. Because what they understood what this mental disorder was, to me it was like, but that's not it. So I was like, only if they knew, that's not really true. Some of the stuff is, yeah, it's correct, but it's not a reflection of someone that has a mental disorder. And I didn't want to be associated with that. I wanted to be like, oh, your dad has schizo. He, throughout middle school and high school, when he has episodes, he'll come pick us up in school. He'll come and get us. Middle school, let me be honest with you, when you're in middle school, you're like, peace out, let's go, Dad. In high school, it's a little different because when you have a crush, sorry, I don't want to stay there. My crush was Tony. I remember one of the, it was before we had, you switch classes. The bell is about to ring. Teacher comes in and they're like, oh, someone's here for you. I already knew because I already seen my dad with his episode up. I already knew it was him. And I was like, I remember looking at the time and I was like, I have 10 minutes to get rid of him. Come back out in the hallway, and this is Woodburn High School, by the way. It's different now. The high school has like 4 schools now. Back then it was 1. So I'm in the lunch cafeteria, and he comes in and he's just like, okay, he's trying to pull me and my sister. At that time, she must have been a freshman. I think it was a junior. And I remember standing there and trying to talk to someone that mentally wasn't there. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how embarrassing. Someone comes out right now and sees him, and then he starts crying. When you have your disorder, your mental disorders, your episodes, you react different. You're not yourself. So in the middle there's like a grown man just literally crying because I'm refusing to go with him. By the way, usually he'll just drop off in the house and that's all he would really do. So I remember thinking, all I kept thinking about me and what I was going to be perceived as. Wow, that's her dad? Who's that? selfish reasons, I was immediately just thinking about me. So I remember I was like, okay, how can I distract them? And I was like, okay, I'm like, come go this way. I remember even going to the office. Mrs. Francis, who she was, teacher. Since I didn't like that teacher, well, she was like an assistant, but she was kind of mean. You know, one of those mean ones. But looking back, she actually wasn't mean. She was actually doing her job. But at that time, it felt like she was being mean, just trying to like out to get us for no reason. She was doing her job. I remember going to her, and I didn't have to explain anything. I looked at her, and she said, "Is your dad having an episode?" And I said, "Yes." I couldn't even talk. I felt like these emotions, like, you know, like that, when you're about to cry, there's like this ball right here, and if you say something's about to like explode, and you can't even talk right, you're like not even, yeah. That was me. I looked at her, and she said, I got it. Immediately she knew how to handle it. The thing about Mrs. Francis is that she used to go to our church. She saw my dad at church. So when I grew up in Woodburn, and remember I told you my dad had started his journey with Jesus, he would take us sometimes to church in Woodburn back in the day, back when we had a lot of rules, and as a teenager, don't look out. You know, I didn't want to go. I hated that church. So every time he would go, it's like, yeah, you go. So I could only imagine the stories or things he would do at church. But to me, it's like, I'm not there, I don't see it, I don't know what's happening. That's not for my world right now. She helped me so he could leave. It all worked out. And as my journey continued with life and my dad and his disorder, as I got older, once I graduated from high school, I remember one of my friends said, I had invited her for, I think, our graduation, you know how we do like two little big old parties just for any reason. And she came over to the house, and I introduced to my dad, and she said, "You have a dad?" And that's when it hit me. The entire time, I was denying who my father was. Because I was ashamed, I was embarrassed. I was going to talk about stuff I didn't want to talk about. I wasn't ready. And I was like, of course I have a dad. He's a great dad. We never talk about it. I was like, oh. Then I started realizing what was holding me back. And I told her my story. And she's like, I didn't know. I always thought you and your mom, your siblings. We never talked about it. And through this journey, of course, I'm very thankful because of what God has done through my dad. Of course, by the way, when I was thinking about doing all this, I was like, I'm going to bring out this. I mean, going into the history of facts about people that have schizophrenia, how many, commit suicide by what age. I was trying to give you all those facts. But I was like, no, let me just tell you from my experience. I didn't realize that my dad had this since he was 18. Since we were babies, I didn't know. Didn't know that eventually one of us could have it. Thank goodness no one did. Our family. No one has not what he has. Because it is tough as a family to have to deal with someone with mental disorder. There's an emotional piece because you go through anger. Why did I get a dad like that? Why was I put in a situation? That's not fair. I don't know how to deal with that. How do I explain to my kids that their grandfather has that? And when he has episodes, I have to explain or remove them away from the situation. See, but God, he works different. He said, I'm going to put you in that family. I'm going to give you a father with a mental disorder because through you, you're going to help others. And through your dad, I'm going to show no matter what you have, whether it's a disability, a mental disorder, a anxiety, whatever you have, you can make it through life. Amen. With Jesus Christ. See, sometimes we get so caught up on the plan that we want, what looks good, what sounds good, and he's saying no. Through this, not only are you going to help your dad, let me tell you, I got him help. I helped him a lot of times get out of trouble. But now, I'm proud of my dad. I mean, it's amazing how this man can hold a job for years. I mean, talk about Jesus really being keeping him so secure and safe, attempted of suicide, that he said, no, it's not your time. You think this is your time. Not now. And the fact that he still has if those that know my dad, sometimes they didn't even know he had a disorder. Unless you were living in church, then then you figure it out really fast. But when you talk to him, you will not even know. It's been almost 3 years since he hasn't had an episode. And it's never been like that ever. Prior to 3 years ago, every 6 months, every year, something happened. He's doing something, it's not right. It's an emotional roller coaster. I have siblings that will not talk to him. I have siblings that are so hurt, they can't let go. But this is the thing. It's how we perceive things. I don't think my dad chose to be like that. I don't think he said, oh, no, once I'm 18, I want to have this mental disorder. He didn't choose that. It's about creating awareness. It is a family. How do we come together to help and unite? And through this, me talking more about it has been able to help a lot of more people that I didn't realize. At work, I end up talking about this, and they're like, this, I'm like, wait, my dad has that. Let me tell you, back in the day, I would have not said anything at all. I'm like, no, sucks. Now I'm very open. I'm like, wait, my dad has that. I know about that. You're such a good doctor. Want the information? Oh, do you know they have this information? You know there's this resource right here for that? Oh, did you know that Salem Hospital has this, and that? There's all this stuff that happens, and we just don't understand it why at that moment. The moment of me going through the fight with my parents, and literally I didn't know there was a God at that time. I don't know how to explain this for those that are maybe not believers, but there's just something that you just know there's there. Like you talk to someone and you hear about movies and stuff, and I remember being sick and praying, please make this go away. This hurts a lot. This pain hurts a lot. And throughout the years, you feel like there's something there, but I don't know what it is. Well, there's a 50 chance there is a God, there's not, but I'm going to go ahead and go for it. Let me just do this prayer. And once I had made that choice and found God, let me tell you, I knew of God, didn't know God. Now that I know God, He was there the entire time, saying, I got you. You will survive this. This is just a stepping stone for what I have planned for you. So don't you just freak out right now, or don't ship out, or don't trust my judgment where I'm going to take you. There's a plan, you just don't understand it right now. Through the midst of the storm, you'll get through it just fine. Not only would you get through it, through you, I'm going to help others go through the same storm. So I need you to hold on tight. And going back, that's what my journey is like. He was there the entire time. I just didn't know it. And when I think about the prayer, I was always praying, I just didn't know this. There's those times where like, I wish, please make this go away. You're going through all this emotion. He's there the entire time. And I don't know what you guys are going through or where you're heading in the unknowns. But He's saying, and He told me through this journey was, if you trust me, you'll be fine. Don't lose that connection that we have, which is prayer. Okay? That prayer that we're connected to, that power line, that's our prayer to God. Amen. And every choice that you make, everything that goes through in life, your roller coaster, your happy times, your bad times, He's saying, don't lose the connection through me. Because I'm going to help you get through it, but you have to trust and with walking faith that I have your back. You'll be completely fine. The fact that I got to experience and see, my dad's, by the way, very active in church, in the Lutheran church. He loves, our Heavenly Father. He is like a devoted man of God, still with his disorder. the fact that he can keep his job, still have homes, and he's fine. He has his family, he has his kids. If that doesn't show you there's a God, I don't know what does. And the fact that he helped him stop hitting my mom. How does that happen? How does someone just already stop? It went like this. Domestic violence to immediately stopping him ever hurting my mom ever again. That is Jesus Christ working. So when you have someone that you know or is going through stuff, you need to remind them that there is a God and you have to be able to trust. But the thing is, with what you're comfortable, if you trust him, are you willing to are you willing to accept his call? And this is where I'm going to be at to answer your questions. Flash forward a lot of the stuff, again, mini testimony, until now. To answer your question about why am I going to California? This is the thing. I love my God. Everything I do is based on prayer. I will not make a choice, believe it or not. Something as simple as, what should we for dinner? Let's be honest, I didn't cook dinner. Anything that I do is, I literally run it by. And I'll give you what's been working for me. Please, a blessing for you. Some of you probably already do this, but don't roll your eyes and be like, maybe it's not for you, for somebody else. So, when we're praying and asking our Heavenly Father, again, that's the cord, that's the power to get through Him. I go like this, I feel like the cord's down here, you plug it. I want you to kind of explain that whole scenario. Is when you pray for something, you need to ask. So before I go to that, John, I want you to make sure we go into the Bible. We're going to open the Bible now. We're getting there. It is 1 John 2:15 and 16. And if you're not fast enough, just write it down, and then you can read it. Go back and read it. I'll tell you what the two verses say. So 1 John 2:15, 16. Do not love this world, nor the things it offers you. For when you love the world, you do not have the love of the Father in you. Verse 16. For the world offers only a craving for physical pleasure, a craving for everything we see, and pride in our achievements and possessions. These are not from the Father, but are from this world. I want to confirm with that one. When we do our prayer and we're asking, see, our God is so good, He will deliver. But I want you to think about what that was saying here. This world will give us a craving for physical pleasures, what we eat, what we want for our bodies, right? What we think we need. A craving for everything we see. I like your shoes. I want that. How come she has them? I want the big car. I want that job. A craving for everything, and pride in our achievements. I got promoted to be so-and-so in California. I am the youth leader of Vivid. And our possessions. I possess this because look what I've achieved. He's saying that's from the world. So when you're coming and praying to me, do not forget what's here and what's the world. So, John, if you can go to Matthew 7:8. This is going to be when we do prayer. There's only 3 bulletins. Don't worry, I'm wrapping this up. So Matthew 7:18. And if you have it, I probably should have just done my notes right there. Okay, so I'll go ahead and read it. So Matthew 7:8. Keep on asking, and you will receive what you ask for. Keep on seeking, and you will find it. Keep on knocking, and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, everyone who seeks finds, and to everyone who knocks the door will open. Amen. All right, let's go. We're going to go this kind of fast. Matthew 6:8. And if you can't pick up, again, write it down and you can go back. And this one says, don't be like them, for your Father knows exactly what you need even before you ask. And then the next one is Philippians 4:6-8. Philippians 4:6-7. 6:7. All right, I'll read for you. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Jesus Christ. So don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. So when you're asking, you ask if it's His will. See, sometimes we like to ask, like, oh, please, Lord, see the one that I'm supposed to say yes to. Is this the house? Is this the school? Pray, Heavenly Father, if it's in your will, let me know if this is the house. God, if you're going to send me to California, please let me know if this is all in your will and not mine. Second portion, when we're talking about prayer, you ask in His will. Next one is you ask and believing. You can't just be asking like, maybe, right? Is this in your will? That's the house I'm going to get. That's the promotion. Let's go to 1 John 5:14. 1 John 5:14. And we are confident that He hears us whenever we ask for anything that pleases Him. And since we know He hears us when we make our request, we also know that He will give us what we ask for. All right, look at this again. Real quick. Matthew 21:21-22. Now, some of you are really good at looking them up. Some of you are just sitting there. Pull up your phone and try to look if you're looking. All right, so Matthew 21:21-22. I'll go ahead and read this. Then Jesus told them, I tell you the truth. If you have faith and don't doubt, you can do things like this and much more. You can even say to this mountain, may you be lifted up and thrown into the sea, and it will happen. You can pray for anything, and if you have faith, you will receive it. So when you pray, it's in His will, and that you actually believe He's going to do it. The last point that I have, you ask in His name. All right, John. It's John 14:13. I only have like 2 more verses. Don't worry, guys. So John 14:13. You can ask for anything in my name, and I will do it, so that the Son can bring glory to the Father. Yes, ask me for anything in my name, and I will do it. Okay, so let me just clarify. You can't just say, in Jesus' name. No. You need to understand who Jesus is and what it means to use His name. Because His name is Almighty. Don't forget who He is. Amen. So you need to ask that it's His will, not yours, that you believe what you're asking, that He is capable of doing it, and that you know who is Jesus Christ. And those, well, I have one more. Okay, wait. The last one, John 15:7. This is kind of fun, right? I think I'm having fun. Okay, so John 15:7-8. But if you remain in me, and my words remain in you, you may ask for anything you want, and it will be granted. When you produce much fruit, you are my true disciples. This brings great glory to my Father. So where am I getting at all of this? Why am I going to California? See, until you know who my Father is, you don't even doubt why I'm going. Because I'm so strong in my faith, Heavenly Father. And it's still a journey, by the way. Because there is times in this journey with walk with God, we all have different journeys. There's time of doubt, and He'll remind us. But I'm going because I truly believe our calling's in California right now. See, our calling's for our Heavenly Father. Sometimes we think this plan has to be this one almighty plan. My entire purpose was to do this. Let me tell you, our Heavenly Father doesn't work that way. He has multiple plans for you, depending on your season and where you're at. We just don't want to believe it. Why am I still single? Why don't I have kids yet? Because maybe our Heavenly Father said that it's not time yet. And where you're at now, He needs you for in your season to start your faith with Him and walk with Him so He can use you and help you. When we have everything good, this is where I feel like sometimes, not that He's testing us, He isn't testing. He's saying, is your faith that strong that if I call you to leave what you know, where you're comfortable, where I'm about to rip you away from what you know, and your kids, and your family, and the church, everything, in faith, are you going to go? If you had asked me in February, January, even last year, hey, you going to move? Ha! Why? What do you mean? Like, I got it going on here. Once I give it on my kids, I think I'm one of his favorites. He has no favorites, by the way. I just put that on. He's still working with me, clearly. But when you have a strong faith in our Heavenly Father, you trust and you know what He's going to open. No hands down, I obey. This whole thing of my promotion for work, that's where it started. Actually, let me just bring it back up and tell you. It was in prayer. It didn't come up with no promotion or nothing. On March 16th, when I was up here, giving the sermon, to all of you that were here, thank you. I was in the Word of God. And I said, Heavenly Father, you said you're this big person I don't understand. I'm so faithful to you. You tell me when and where. I will be there. Let me just tell you, I did not think He was going to do it that weekend. And He said to me, all right, I called you to do something else. Do you trust me to go and do it? And let me tell you, I was praying. It was like 11 p.m. My team knows, so I'm sharing with this. 11 p.m. before I even posted for this job, I said, are you sure? Like, what if it's not from God? Like, is this where you're calling me? I hesitated. Once I hit submit, that was it. It happened so quick. I started being 20. I go on a different journey with my family, but at the end of this whole entire thing, I'm not worried about it. Because who I'm connected with is my Heavenly Father. Amen. And you guys start worrying what's happened to Vivid, who's gonna take the youth, oh my gosh, like if I do this, then there's that voice behind me that says, you're not a one. Like, why do you worry about the Vivid youth? Like, what do you mean? Do you not know I already have a plan? I already have Cindy. Do you not know I have this person here? Oh, Cindy, yeah, Cindy's here. Not only do I have a plan for that church, why do you worry about it? I'll deal with that. I'm asking to see if you're faithful enough to go and take that journey that I asked you to do. We start doing that, right? Immediately, like, okay, when you have trust in what He has planned for you, you do it. And you don't look back. And He opens up doors. And let me just tell you, it's been a blessing. That's a whole other sermon. I don't got no time because it's like 12:09. He will make it work out, and He has been blessed me. I'm about to go to work May 20th, and me and my husband don't even have a house over there yet to live in, but I'm not worried about it. My house in Jervis is not rented yet. I'm not worried about it. He has blessed me now and has always had. Why do I doubt? I have no doubts. In this church, Vivid, no doubts. God's going to do amazing and is doing amazing things. He's about to take this church about a whole journey. He's removing the Castaneda and all that. But because He has something better prepared. He has a better youth leader that's ever going to be here before me. She's about to do this amazing things in this church, and that's where the trust comes in. He's me somewhere else, but He has something else planned for this. And all I'm asking you and saying today is continue to support this church. And it's about to go to this new journey, a whole different building. He's going to do amazing things. But we have to have that trust and that faith That's how it is. So, as I wrap it up here, well, I already wrapped it up, but think about if God knocked on your door right now. It might not be perfect for you in your life. I don't know what's happening. Think about the time when it was good for you. You were happy, you had the best grades, you had a scholarship, you had a promotion, you had a baby, they told you yes on the house. What if God knocked and said, no, I need you to turn that down, I need you to go over here. Do you have the faith to do that? And that is hard as well. Because we're such planners, we want to plan ahead what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen. I don't have a plan what's going to happen in California, but I do know I have a strong faith in my God. He's going to take care of me. And that's all that matters. So as we enjoy the rest of the day today, I just want you to think about who your God is and through prayer. One is pray, ask. Make sure you ask that it's His will, that you believe what you're asking for and believe who He is, and that you know who He is in His name. It's not about you, it's about what He can do. So we'll go ahead and bow our heads. We'll do a prayer. All right, Heavenly Father, thank you so much. God, thank you so much that I didn't have a tear down this moment, because I really thought I was going to cry. I say it's part of my testimony. It's an emotional roller coaster. But more importantly, God, thank you for allowing me to share a glimpse of what you've done in my life, through my father, through my family, and what you're about to do in this next journey. God, I'm so thankful to you. I'm so happy what you've done with my family and what you're about to do with this church as well. God, I ask you to please have your thoughts and continue to think of all your kids. All of us are here. Those are going through some tough times, that you're reminded once again of who you are and that you've always been there and that you're still there. We ask you, God, to continue to stay with us. We ask this all in your beautiful Son's name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. All right. Well, thank you so much for your continuing support. I appreciate being up here. Like I mentioned, so it's not easy, but I had everybody's eye contact. I felt comfortable. I didn't feel judged. If anything, I felt inspired. So thank you so much for allowing me to really open up a little bit about me. I would like to invite my two daughters. What was my other one? Well, it's okay. Okay. For nothing. So we just want to really thank the Vivid family. You guys have been nothing but amazing. We're still going to be here next Sabbath, at least for me. You'll still see them. Please take care of them. So when I'm not here, those that have my number, please text me if they're paying attention. No, I wouldn't do that. They will still be here until June to help support the Vivid youth in church. So you'll still see us. Come next Sabbath will be my last one here at church, but you guys know where to find me. You can take a mattress in the bulletin. But thank you so much. I don't think you just want to add anything before I wrap it up, because I'm a talker there. No. I didn't plan this with them. Okay, that was it. You guys have a good Sabbath. Thank you. Amen.